With the Colonial Readiness Initiative now underway, the government has authorised the expansion of the Buckley and Kimpton steel shipbuilding yards to meet production quotas for new ships, both military and commercial. These efforts have been combined with local Promethean and Lionel planetary industries, with thousands of resources now being invested into new spaceports, habitation equipment, and security assets. Once collected at their home ports in the Prometheus system, these resources will be moved to the new colonies, and thanks to recent survey efforts, there are now a good number of bountiful ones for colonization, some of which have a higher priority than others as determined by the CRI. The following systems will see human colonization so far, in accordance to their priority order and attached allocation: Manticore, San Martin, Hancock, and Endicott, as well as Zanzibar. Zanzibar is a special case and has been determined to have the potential for high strategic value due to the likelihood of a large number of jump points, and as such will be closely monitored while survey efforts continue. Further, under the CRI, additional ground and naval forces will need to be raised to ensure colonial security and stability, and to secure these new colonies. The newly created Promethean Defense Forces have already begun to prepare for this sustained exodus outside of the Prometheus system. In days past, the government of United Earth relied on the Colonial Defense Force to safeguard humanity's expansion into the stars, but by the time of the Promethean expedition, it had grown by a massive extent. This CDF had been designed to exist as a largely static and localized force, split up throughout the galaxy, responding to threats through regional headquarters, and were governed in local districts of space. This made the force keenly adept at dealing with regional issues such as pirates and rebel factions, but fighting sustained conflict was not a focus. The forces themselves focused primarily on infantry backed by large amounts of magnetic artillery guns. Large armor divisions were uncommon due to high costs and little need for widespread offensive operations. It is unknown what became of this CDF. However, preliminary research into the ruins found on Manticore suggests they were still operating approximately 50 years ago. Whatever came of them, the Promethean government is now alone in the galaxy as far as it knows, and has set out to create a new colonial defense force by which its colonies will be safeguarded. This force will base its doctrine on that of the original forces, due to the existing officer corps and directives that have been held for over 50 years, laying back to those original roots in the United Earth government. The new Promethean Defense Force will act as both a military and policing arm. Colonies, especially new ones, are costly and require a level of professionalism to ensure their protection, something civilian police are just not capable of. At the heart of this military revitalization will be the Light Garrison Division. This core element within the Greater Army will be capable of planetary defense operations, fully independent of any other formation element. The division will feature the following: 3 Light Brigade combat teams containing the primary active element of the force, with a total of 10,500 men split between each team. Focusing on entrenchment at a low cost will be the priority for these Light Brigade combat teams. Supporting them are 3 divisional artillery battalions, providing localized fire support to these entrenched elements planetside. These will be making use of the M307 magnetic towed artillery piece. And finally, to provide orbital security, which will be so important in defending against raids or any other kind of attempts by space vessels, will be a Surface Orbit Fires Brigade. This brigade will be made up of surface-mounted weapons capable of firing from planet surface to orbit against approaching enemy ships. These guns will be the first line of defense for any colony and will be a standard throughout colonized space. They will be designed, these divisions, to operate for around 30 days with continuous action without resupply, and will see deployments to all current and future colonies. Military Command hopes to raise 10 of these divisions within the next decade, totaling 150,000 new active service personnel at a cost of 50,000 minerals. Hello and welcome back. It's been a little bit, but we are back at it as the Colonial Authority of Prometheus. Now, in the introduction, or I don't really know even what to call it anymore, being 5 minutes, we went over the kind of colonial path that we'll be following. Now, in episode 3, we talked about the Colonial Readiness Initiative, the kind of supplies that will be transporting to different places. This episode is going to be about getting those supplies in place, getting those colonies set up, and protecting them as well. So we need to accomplish quite a few things in today's episode. That is going to be setting up transportation for resource allocation to these new colonies, colonizing in the first place, Second is finding new sources of minerals and resources to fund this. And then third is providing a military presence to each of the colonies in an effective manner to achieve that protection. Now, we are currently in the process, as the introduction did suggest, of building new ships, new freighters, which I'll be ordering more of, specifically more colony ships and also more freighters, though I need to get our naval shipyards to increase their capacity before we can start building military vessels that I want to build. Prometheus itself is building a generalized infantry, industry, maintenance facilities, these are dragging stations, spaceports, research facilities, things like this. Lionel is on our infrastructure at the moment, and it's focusing on building infrastructure, and I've also added low gravity infrastructure. Now you may ask, Defrin, why are you using low gravity infrastructure? And the reason that I'm using low gravity infrastructure is because I want to colonize specific asteroids in Prometheus, where we can deploy low gravity infrastructure at a lower cost than automated mines, populate the world, and actually be able to move mines to there in a decent amount. And the reason that we're able to do this is because we have asteroids in this system that are 740 kilometers in diameter. Not only that, but they have a population capacity of 40 million people. This asteroid, for example, has an accessibility of 5.6 with 400,000 tons of resources. That is really, really good. However, we can't use orbital mines on this because it is too big. Same with this asteroid, which also has 150,000 tons at 5.7 accessibility. These asteroids are simply just too big. So we will need to colonize them with actual population. Next, this is the colony of Phoenix. I've renamed it the one on Manticore. This is the ruins. We'll be needing to get forces out there as soon as possible. I don't like leaving colonies unguarded for any reasonable amount of time. However, we are not yet in a position to really send any ships. Besides, we could send a destroyer. That's going to be about the best we can do. The problem is these destroyers are only fit for about 6 months of duty, so we're going to kind of hold off on that for now. If we go into our ground forces, I have a new infantry division ready to go. Now, these are going to be 200,000 tons, about 15,000 people, and I'm currently just waiting on getting surface-to-orbit weapons researched and built. So what we're going to do is we're going to design some of them. So what we currently have access to is 15cm lasers. We have 10cm railguns, which are our anti-missile weapons. And we're going to need to make use of both. Unfortunately, these are not the best weapons. We're just low tech at the moment, so they're going to have to do. So we're going to make use of the Twin Bush Armaments 15cm visible light laser. We are going to classify this as the S49, which is the size. I do size 49. 15cm surface to orbit laser battery. And we are going to put that in avoid combat because it doesn't actually want to get into combat. We're going to hit create, and then we're also going to then go ahead and create a point defense guns. Why can I not set that up for point defense? That is very odd. Is that because it's already set up for that, or is it not? I don't know what the situation is there. Never mind, I'll figure that out in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and head over to Lionel and get that research on the way. So that will be under ground forces. We're going to need to assign a research laboratories. We've only got xenoarchaeology equipment. God, I speak way too fast. Which is on the way, which we will be needing for finding out what happened on Phoenix, as well as some of the other colonies like Medusa in San Martin. Shipping wise, we have cargo group 2 is coming back, cargo group 1 is available, cargo group 3 is currently moving deep space tracking stations to Phoenix, which we should already have arrived. Yep, we got 6 deep space tracking stations there. We've got another freighter that's just available, which is good, and then no other freighters elsewhere. We have the extra Prometheus Colonial Establishment Group, which I believe has been moving infrastructure over to, was it Medusa? No, it wasn't Medusa. It was not Medusa, which is the habitable planet, which I'm going to rename, and we're going to call it Bulwark. Just random off the top of my head. So which do we want to colonize? Probably, I think I'd like to get this colony done first. There's not much point doing this ruined settlement yet. So you can currently handle 60 or 300,000 people. We transport 300,000. So we're going to start moving those colonists over to San Martin and to Bulwark immediately. Unload the colonists and then head over to Prometheus and we will resupply. So yeah, we're gonna need to have that head back. The forces here, once they're back, we'll start moving more infrastructure. So we've got San Martin on the way right now. I'm gonna get some more ground forces built as quickly as we can to start distributing them out to these colonies. Endicott 4, let's go have a look. So in Endicott, the colony that we want to be establishing on is Forge, which I've gotten all the names sorted out. And that's the lowest colony cost relatively there. So we're going to move over infrastructure. We want to support about 10 million people. Now, supporting 10 million people, if we consider that it's 200 infrastructure per million people, ish. So we're going to need about 2,000. That's going to take quite a few trips. So we are going to get, I'm just going to rename this pop to Forge so I know which one it is. We're going to go ahead and get this colony group. I'm going to grab this other ship and kind of requisition it into this fleet. I'm going to requisition into the fleet. I'm then going to grab the infrastructure that we have on Lionel. I'm going to head that over to Endicott and have it unload on that colony. And then head back to Prometheus and refuel. The forces, or this cargo group that's about to come back, we are going to have that begin moving mining supplies over to new colonies as well as new civilians. Speaking of our civilian industry at the moment, currently we have 3 civilian colony ships and 4 freighters. Can't really do much right now with it, so we'll just have to wait for a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and start incrementing along, get events up, and one thing I'm very, very aware of though is Zanzibar. I really want to see what's happening here, so we're going to be focused on that while we wait here. Oh, that cargo group did just finish up, so we are going to start moving. We're going to wait until we can get the extra deep space infrastructure ready to go. So that's all of our beam fire controls research. So that is for our light patrol craft, I do believe. What else do we need? We need missile technology to continue. So we need, where is it? Yeah, here. We're going to need to put Dominic beams. Feels like you should be in the beam weapons section. I don't feel like... I don't know why you've chose to be in the missile and kinetics weapons, but sure, with a name like that. So we need to research these, and we also need those buoys ready to go. Shipyards, we again are still going to be waiting on Prometheus to get its shipyards together as we continue to increment along here. Looks like we just had another ship. Yep, another cargo ship finish up. We're going to get another one of those built. We are currently expanding the slipway here to try and keep producing more of these ships quicker. However, you know, that's going to obviously take quite a bit of time. So we're going to go ahead and requisition that other ship. And once we start getting some of this Prometheus here, once we start getting some of this low gravity infrastructure built, we can start to ship it out. If I have a look here, so we have this cargo group here, which we will assign another ship to. So that's 3 of them. So I'll just increase that to 225. And they have 60 infrastructure currently on. We're going to go ahead and just unload that really quick. So they can carry approximately 90 infrastructure. So considering that, if we want to colonize, let's say, this asteroid, infrastructure per million is 274. They carry 90 infrastructure each. That is going to require us to do about probably like 25 trips, some around there. Math is not exactly mathing, but it's about 25 trips to actually get up to about 10 million support of support population there. So we're gonna have to just wait for a little bit of that production. Battalion has been trained on Prometheus. Yes, we are currently building an existing infantry force, which is from the old forces, which we currently still have, which, you know, they do their job, they're fine. And we might as well make use of them. There's no reason not to. It takes time to build out new forces, and so it's really not something that we're going to be able to just, you know, easily accomplish here. So what do we have available to us? So we have the 1st Army Corps, 4th Army Corps. We have an infantry brigade combat team on Phoenix itself. I'm going to dispatch the... What do we have here? We have the 3rd Infantry Division, which has 3 brigades in it at the moment. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to dispatch the 3rd Infantry Division using troop transport. So if we go over to the transportation flotilla, so that's 100,000 tons. That should be able to transport the full division. We're going to go to Prometheus. We're going to grab the 3rd Infantry Division, and we're going to go ahead and take that over to San Martin. I'm going to unload that onto Bulwark, and that will protect Bulwark in the meantime as we start to ship colonists over there, as we currently have the Sirius on the way, which will arrive in 783 days. I really want us to get better engine technology, just so that we can get to places quicker, because I'll be honest with you guys, nuclear thermal tech ain't what that cracked out to be. It's not great, but, you know, you gotta make do with what you have. We have this cargo group, which is currently available. Yep. Still gotta wait on our low gravity infrastructure before we can start moving any of it. We complete research into size 2 box launchers, which is what we'll be needing. Continue to train additional ground forces, which is always good to see. Basilisk, did we finish that stabilization? Yes, we did. So we now have our first stabilization link to Basilisk, which means civilians can come through here. It doesn't really mean a lot because, well, Basilisk doesn't exactly go anywhere. However, I can start to move these Amphitrite class vessels, or tugs. I'm going to track to the ship to San Martin, so we can start to get that colonized, because San Martin, again, is a priority 1, and we need that colonized ASAP. We're still stabilizing over here, and let's continue to increment on. Gravitational survey completed in Quinton. Now, Quinton was a relatively empty system on the eastern fringes. Seems like there's nothing here. There's enough to support 2.32 million population, which is basically nothing. We can support a very remote station. It's really nothing that exciting. Let's order the Whirlwind over to Zanzibar, as I'm going to attempt to put all colonization through Zanzibar for now. I kind of want to leave the other paths, you know, safe, so to speak. Not safe, but you know what I mean. So Tug just completed orders. We're going to go ahead and have it do the same thing, but it's going to head over to Manticore, which we just established now a link to, which is a lot bigger of a deal, because that link is going to allow the transportation of civilians colonies in Manticore, which we've already seen the colony ship Catalfamo or Catalfamo class begin moving colonists over there. And I'm going to order our colonists to start moving additional infrastructure, because we need more population to work the facilities to maintain a proper presence there. So I'm going to start demanding infrastructure. I'm going to demand 1,000 infrastructure, and I'm going to supply that infrastructure from Lionel. I want them to start moving there. This will also provide income to the civilians who will accept the contract, and that contract is going to be very, very important to continue to boost that civilian economy as much as we can. So freighters should start doing that relatively soon. The Tornado finished orders. We're going to head that over to Zanzibar. Extra Prometheus Colony Establishment Group has complete orders. So that is the 2 freighters we have, which we are going to wait on a little second. I am going to start moving infrastructure, and we're going to move that over to, if we go and have a look at, so we've got San Martin, Hancock, Manticore. If we go to Hancock, we have this colony, which is Hancock 2. We're going to wait on that for just a second. And then we have Endicott, which has this colony here, which is Forge, which we're moving, which we're going to start moving stuff to. Let me have a look. Did we already start? Yes, we did. So we already started to move them there. So I think it's just Hancock left. Yes, just Hancock left. This is a really interesting planet. So if we go to Hancock 2, God, I hate this name. It's got a absolute ton of resources. 10 million tons of galacite at 0.9 access. Some relatively low quantities, but overall a really good system, really good planet. And so we want to get the colonists over there. It's already got liquid. It does have some other incompatibilities though, but it's relatively small, so it should be easy to terraform. As easy as it can be playing at 25% terraforming speed. So we are going to start moving infrastructure over to Hancock and begin unloading those installations there, and then head back to Prometheus and refuel, resupply from Colonial. Speaking of, how is our fuel supplies doing? Fuel supplies doing okay, but I am relatively concerned we have very little production. And so once some of this completes, I'm going to start moving. I'm going to start moving some of the supplies, not supplies, production. Yeah, some of the production over to build fueling stations. The cargo group here, we're going to start moving that low gravity infrastructure over to this asteroid. The asteroid might get a name once we put enough people on it. So yeah, we're going to continue to move that. It's only going to take 300 days, and that's because these freighters move at 256 kilometers a second, which is very, very little. Very, very little. The Squall is going to need new orders. So we're going to have that head over to Zanzibar as well. We're going to go to Zanzibar, speaking of, and continue to see how the colonization is going. B5 control rating just completed. We actually have pretty good B5 control rating for our technology level. I'm going to start research towards, let's have a look here. Fire control rating is pretty good, but I think let's try and get our sensor strength up, because it's going to be an important technology considering we have started at 0 and we really don't have much. And yeah, I'm basically sending every ship we have to Zanzibar to determine the situation there. There's the monsoon. Did you get your standing orders? No, you don't. So you're going to need to get those orders going and continue to survey. We finished up all the research we're going to need from the missile and kinetics technologies. But I'm going to keep the research going. Let's go for active terminal guidance. That gives a plus 15% hit rate to missiles, which is going to be a big, big thing. And again, we're just waiting on the shipyards to get built so we can actually start building some proper military ships. Because it is going to be quite bad for us if we don't get those built, is all I'll say. So let's head over to Zanzibar. To colonize as much as we can. So 2 new jump points. So far there are 6 jump points in this system, and the Halcyon, the first ship to survey, is also needing new orders. We've got everyone working in this system to continue to survey as much as they can, as we continue to train additional forces. So Bulwark has now received its first colonists. Let's go ahead and assign a governor. Governor Warren Karma from the University of Lionel started their career 3 years into the game, and so they are now governor of Bulwark. And looks like the ground forces did arrive as well, so we have our first ground forces here on Bulwark as well. That's 100,000 tons. Speaking of, we are going to continue to move additional ground forces to these colonies, and these are temporary until we get those new divisions built and sorted. To start, shipping them out to these worlds. So we're going to load up this infantry division. We're going to send that over to Hancock, and we're going to unload those ground forces there, and then head back to Prometheus and refuel, resupply. We're going to have to wait for more transport ships to be built, and we may need to look at building more military transports as we start to expand out further here. Very exciting. Pebble Bed Reactor just completed. So that is a big, big deal. So we are going to get our pan propulsion scientists, which is only 1, which is really bad for us. We need you to start work on the pressurized water reactor. We're waiting on the active terminal guidance for missile and kinetics. Now, something that's really useful and really good about missile ships and investing in missile ships is we can always just replace the missiles. We can upgrade the missiles, we can make them better, and that can obviously really help us out. Okay, xenoarchaeological equipment is done. That is also big. With that done, I can start to... So that was for ground forces, obviously. We're with that done, I can start to redirect these labs to other places. Specifically, I'm going to do that in power propulsion and also mining production, because then we need to get that up. And we can start to look at designing ourselves as an archaeological vehicle. We're going to add 1, 2. We already have a combat engineer vehicle. We're going to call this the XSV 218. And we're going to put that in avoid combat, hit create, and we're going to start researching it. Then we'll put it into formation and we'll start deploying it to the colonies. So let's get a ground this. We are going to actually need to strip some labs back and get research on that, which is going to be a little bit of time. That's going to be a priority though, so I am going to redirect an additional 5 laboratories. We are currently building research facilities on Prometheus, which most of our research is actually happening over on Lionel, but our production for new research facilities is happening on Prometheus. So we'll obviously have to start researching from Prometheus, because I don't really want to ship those facilities over necessarily. We also have our first colonists here on this asteroid, which we are slowly growing up to have a sustained population. So that will be one of the goals. Lionel has 134 low gravity infrastructure, which is always nice to see. I'm also going to give a demand for low gravity infrastructure. We're going to put a demand of 500 low gravity infrastructure. We're going to supply that from Lionel and get that moved. As we can see here, though, civilians are actually taking these this infrastructure and actually moving it over to Phoenix, which is making a pretty big difference, as we now are nearly 1 million people living on the colony. Which we might actually be able to activate that construct, and I really would love to find out what is going on with it. Our first lab here over at Prometheus, we're going to start on a relatively inconsequential research. I think let's do logistics, and I would love to start getting transitory cargo shuttles. That will speed up a lot of our logistics. And there's our 50cm laser surface to orbit laser batteries. Something else that we're going to be needing to add to this is I'm going to create a headquarters. I need a 40,000 ton headquarters. And this will be our surface to orbit fires brigade headquarters. Great. And we'll need to put that into research as well. And then we can actually start to look at producing these new forces. We are going to need new ground force construction facilities, but we need more production capacity in general. There are so many demands on our industry right now and our production that it's really, really difficult. Luckily, we do have a good production administrator. I actually do just want to check something, and that is, do we have anyone better at production? 35%. Why are you serving on Lantern? We need you serving on... let's go over to here. You are the governor of Lantern. Be the governor of Prometheus, please, because you have a 35% production rate increase, which is big. And also, I would like the governor of Lionel to focus on production as well. So let's go over to there. Yeah, we can replace your jobs there, and that should hopefully speed everything up, which is what I'm looking to do here. The Simoon requires new orders. We're just going to have it refill, resupply, and begin an overhaul. Okay, we've reached shipbuilding capacity on Bequeast, but we need to just increase that to 8,500 tons. I am also going to be looking at a replacement potentially for Lionel class survey vessel, but we'll see on that. I haven't yet decided. The Snowstorm is currently needing fuel. It should be able to make it. It's fine. Same with the Cyclone. What's 20? It has 20% fuel remaining. 20% of that is 16 billion kilometers. He is fine. With a 6 billion kilometer range. Yeah, we're doing just fine. The vessels are doing what they need to do. The Snowstorm, a lot of management here. I definitely want to look at increasing the rates, or not rates, strength or endurance, sorry. Fuel and maintenance supplies and whatnot appropriately. Rainstorm should be on its way back. The Cyclone, I do just want to check the Rainstorm. It is on its way back. It should have enough fuel. It does. But we are kind of stretching the limits here, so we're definitely going to be needing new vessels to kind of take over the survey duty responsibility. And again, we're just going to keep heading to Zanzibar and keep surveying as much as we can. Cargo Group 3, I'm not sure what you were doing specifically. We are going to have you begin loading. Start loading low gravity infrastructure, start shipping it to this colony, and then refuel from Lionel and cycle those orders. So, Transportation Flotilla 1 is back. We have forces on Bulwark, forces on Phoenix. Phoenix has now reached 1 million people, and again, we need to get more forces sent out. So I'm going to order Transportation Group 1 to load up the divisions from Prometheus, load up the 4th Infantry Division, take that over to the system of Hancock and unload that onto the colony, and head back to Prometheus and refuel, resupply. I don't believe I am... Oh, that was a mistake. I need to send that to Endicott then. So that's Forge. That is the colony that we need to be sending these guys to. So let's go to Endicott, unload, and then head back to Prometheus and refuel, resupply. That'll take 2 years. Distances are pretty far. Production on mining production, well, research on mining production 12 tons as completed, which is big news. Let's get research rate to 40 on the way. And again, that should hopefully mean that we are weathering any chance at all, even the slightest chance, of problems with resources. That's the XSV 218 completed. Let's go ahead and get a formation built. We're going to call this Xeno Archaeological Team, XEV, and we are going to put in, we need, can we get 48 of these? No, that's a bit too big. Let's get 20, and then I'm going to need engineering vehicles. So if I go to construction vehicles, I'll add 10 of those, and I'll add 30 of these, as well as a headquarters, which we will use a brigade headquarters here, which should work out. Did we get the headquarters research done? No, we did not yet. So we're gonna have to wait on that for just a second, unless I am blind. I am not. So with that, we can start actually producing them. So I'm going to get a xenoarchaeological team. We're gonna build probably like 4 or 5, and then I'm gonna upkeep that. There is a lot to upkeep. We'll have to wait for the other force to complete before we can start transporting stuff over. We have research labs on Lionel available. We are going to start redirecting that into a few places. I'm going to start defensive systems research, and again, power and propulsion is now going to be a priority together. We can start research on nuclear pulse engines, which will be done on the 14th year. Slipway has been added, which is big news. So that is for further cargo ships. We will order 2 more of those to be constructed. Colonists continue to arrive. Phoenix has now hit 1.3 million people, which is fantastic news. I do need some shipping available to start shipping over maintenance facilities to the colony. So where do I have any? I will have 2 more freighters available, or 3 freighters available, which we can start to move over supplies, which is good news for us. Sirius C1, we are going to grab some colonists, head that over to Endicott, and unload those onto Forge, and head back to Prometheus and refuel, resupply. So yeah, we need to get those maintenance facilities moved over as quickly as possible, ideally. So we'll have to just wait a little bit of time. How is low gravity infrastructure being moved here? We have 180 on this planet, 66 million population. That's good news. Yeah, all these colonies are looking good as we continue to grow our civilian industry, which seems to be doing most of its work now in the system of Manticore, which is always nice to see the actual commercial work happen there. Extra Prometheus Establishment Group, we are going to go ahead and assign a freighter up with it. I need you to go orbit Prometheus for me real quick. There we go. And go ahead and assign another ship. We are going to begin moving maintenance facilities from Prometheus. So I'm going to need... So these guys can move approximately 9 facilities at a time. So We are going to move in orders of maintenance facility. I want to hit 25 exactly. So maximum items 5. And then we're going to ship it over to Manticore, unload those, and then head back to San Martin and refuel and resupply. Unload installations, go back to Prometheus, and refuel, resupply, please. And then we need to repeat this 4 more times, and that will provide the supplies required. That is the first ecological team trained on Prometheus. We are going to get that moved over as soon as possible. Do I have any ships currently available? I'm going to wait 63 days on transportation ships until we can get them brought over. Military Space Lift Command, you are complaining. A Commodore assigned instead. Whirlwind needs new orders. Again, I want to continue to survey Zanzibar. Okay, how are we going to find any more jump points is my interest here. Transportation. So we currently have ground forces on Hancock 2, Bulwark, and Phoenix. Endicott. Do we have forces being moved over? We do. So I'm going to go ahead and order this to be moving the archaeological team to Manticore. We will find out the mysteries of Manticore in about 90 days. Well, it'll take probably longer than that. Inactive research facilities. Yep. Let's continue to research into magazines, which I'll be needing. We do have the shipyard now ready to go, but we don't yet have all the research needed for light patrol craft to actually be built. So that's going to take some time. Maintenance facilities on Phoenix have actually started to arrive, so we have 5,000 tons capacity there, which is great news. Hailstorm. Please tell me the hailstorm is going to be able to make it back. Hurricane and tornado. We are going to put a standing order out that both of these ships are going to stop. I'm going to start pulling back ships from colonization efforts, purely just because we're running out of we're going to overextend ourselves too much, is my fear. Definitely. But I think that's where we're going to leave the episode off. In the next episode, we are going to be looking probably at finding out what's happening over on Phoenix in terms of the ancient constructs, expanding installations, continue to expand. I'm pretty happy with today's episode in terms of we've started getting these asteroids colonized. Started thinking about getting these asteroids colonized, as well as moving mines, moving infrastructure. Our civilians now actually working with us to help colonization outside of the system, outside of Prometheus. And big thanks to all the members. Hope you guys have had a great episode or great video experience. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.